So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Minds and Money TV. My name is Jonathan Leader. I'm a new face. I'm sure many of you will be thinking, who is this man? I'm the new head of investor content over here at Beacon Events, so delighted to be joining the team. Far more importantly, though, I'm joined here with Mikhail Taver. Mikhail is the managing partner of Taver Capital, which is a venture fund which invests in early stage artificial intelligence companies from all around the world. Mikhail has vast experience, having done over 250 deals in 20 years, which you do the maths on how many deals per year that is, but it's a pretty significant number. Of M&A and private equity deals, the ex-executive of NAFTA Moskva, one of Russia's most successful financial groups at the time, and former executive of AAR Consortium, Alpha Group, Actis Industries, and Renova Group Management, all take a 50% stake in TNK BP, which is a joint venture of the largest oil companies in Russia and the UK. Mikhail holds a CFA, ACMA, and CGMA designations. Mikhail, thank you very much for being with us. How are you today?
Hi, thanks for joining. Hello?
Oh.
Yeah, something was going. Yeah. Hi, Jonathan. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Great, glad to have you. So let's kick off then. I mean, just a little bit of background. So what made you want to set up the new fund, and what is your sort of previous experience in the sector? Just give us a little bit of an overview there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been studying and practicing investments. I'm what we might call a career investor. So just like you said in the introduction, I spent about 10 years in large private equity groups. It was a rather compact team, but we did a lot of deals and in various sectors. Loads of them were in heavy industry, natural resources, and so on and so forth. I was then part of an even smaller executive team. We managed a huge stake in a large vertically integrated oil company. So I've always been kind of involved with a bit of industrial brick and mortar companies. Mm-hmm. And then I wanted to do something on my own, which is how this first small fund started. I mean, all of my previous experience was in small teams. I'm a big believer in efficiency, so it was obvious from the start that there's not going to be that many people working for the fund. So the idea was to focus on something that has a good investment potential, but is rather niche. And we chose AI as that niche. I believe we were one of the first funds to declare focusing purely on that. Most other people were kind of tech general funds. I don't think I was ever so wrong in my entire life, because obviously, as we all know now, AI is now omnipresent. It's in no way a niche thing. It was a nice mistake to make, though. Having gathered a rather diverse portfolio, I mean, we've got agriculture, health, tech, sports, minerals, mining, you name it. I decided it's time to try and focus on a niche again. Once again, this time I chose industrial AI. I think this is going to work nice too. See how that goes.
Perfect. Well, listen, maybe you once again struck on to the next big thing. So just a little bit of background and talk to us about the technology space. So obviously you started with AI. The presumption again would be that probably, as you said, it's now omnipresent. Everybody sort of knows about it. We talk about it. There's end user facing tools like ChatGPT and so forth, along with all of the sort of back office business use cases for it as well. What was it that attracted you to the space in the first place? How did you identify that opportunity, and how did you execute on it?
Well, I've always loved technology. I mean, I grew up at the very north of Russia, far north, and I had internet there back in the early 90s. I actually dealt with my first neural net in 1999. It was with a pen and paper. I was doing my undergraduate studies at Edinburgh University then. And I've always been fascinated by, heavy machinery. So this kind of drift that combines the two seems like a perfect combination. Makes me enjoy what I'm doing. And mining is one of those heavy brick and mortar industries. And I think it's got a lot of disruption or improvement potential in pretty much all the aspects of it, from the environment to exploration, drilling, and so on and so forth. I mean, no offense here, this is great because there's a lot of upside to be captured. And I always said that AI is something that, how do you put it? It enables an investor to get some returns, rid of sectors that, they did their best, years ago, back in the day. Their first investors did very well, and these sectors are now saturated. And AI enables those sectors to, to go through this fantastic growth again. It's like giving money to Henry Ford back in 1920s. So this is why I kind of got into technologies and AI.
Well, all works out well in the end then, as we are quickly finding out. I completely agree with you on the potential upside of mining. Yeah, the industry has got really strong fundamentals. It's very much sort of integrated into our economy, but there's no doubt. I don't think anybody would argue, even senior executives in the space, I think, would accept that operationally, and particularly when it comes to digital transformation, there's a lot of work to be done there. And yeah, the upside can potentially be enormous, exactly like you said. That leads us on to the upcoming conference then. So obviously you'll be joining us in Resourcing Tomorrow 2023. We're highly excited about that. You're going to be a pitch battle judge. So talk to us a little bit, what made you interested in that particular opportunity, that format, what are you looking forward to? And I guess most importantly, in case any of the contestants might be watching this interview, what do you want to be hearing from them? What are the key points you need to be getting across?
Well, I mean, it's always useful to hear a few pitches, especially in the sector that you are currently researching and examining, like I do. It's even better to be a part of a panel of judges and hear what your colleagues or other opinions have to say about the companies involved. Plus, when you deal with these kind of pitch battles, you provide a feedback to the founders, and it helps the founders. I mean, at least those who are prepared to listen, and by helping the founders, I eventually help myself by improving the space in which I'm operating. And what is there for them to tell me to get my attention? This is for them to decide. Every company is unique, and they know it better, hopefully.
Hopefully, very, very much so.
Know your stuff, yeah. Obviously, that's the main piece of advice.
Come prepared. Come prepared. I think is a reasonable expectation on behalf of an investor. Okay, so I mean, listen, I think it's actually, again, it sort of draws us a little bit back to that AI conversation we're having slightly earlier. So naturally, you got into AI at the perfect timing. Ultimately, you got in when it was far less developed, far less sort of prevalent feature of our technology landscape. Now it's everywhere. And I suppose that's really sort of 90% of the challenge with investing, isn't it? It's finding out that correct timing. What was it about sort of the current environment and the current landscape that made you want to maybe engage slightly more in the mining tech side of things?
Well, mining and industrial, for once, just like I said, I like it, which is a factor. And I mean, it totally plays a role. Now, to the actual investment idea, if you Google mineral mining AI, or even take a wider stance and Google for industrial AI, chances are they're not going to be that much out there to be found. Believe me, I tried it. I mean, there are a few reports and so on and so forth, but it's nothing compared to, I don't know, generative AI. Yet industry per se has always been about a third of the world's GDP, sometimes more. I think it's growing. It's there, it's huge, but it's boring. You don't get much general public recognition, right, for creating billions of dollars in shareholder value in a mine normally, right? Traditional venture funds are not quite familiar with this niche. I've got this portfolio company, it's called Earth AI. They do AI exploration in Australia, and they were doing a financing round a few months ago. And some very established venture institutions were asking them a lot of questions about, lifetime values or customer acquisition costs. These are the terms and metrics they're used to. This is what they deal in this on a daily basis. This industrial or mining kind of thing is a terra incognita for them. Ergo, you kind of outpace your competition by a mile by just knowing what these startups are actually saying and speaking the lingo. Again, this lack of popularity of industrial applications I mentioned earlier also mean that there's less people going in there, and if they do, it is mainly to create value, make money, not for pleasing the ego. And this works as a good pre-filter. And third, the startups they don't always understand the corporations, and vice versa. And it's not common for a startup to come to a major industry player, get their attention, get them to talk to you, and then realize that they have an order for, I don't know, 15 million widgets to be manufactured within the next 3 months, and that's it. They just can't fulfill, and they go the bottoms up. Or to find out that a sales cycle there is 3 years and not 6 months, as they they're read in the book somewhere, and so on and so forth. And since I've been on both sides of the barricade, I can serve as an API or a bridge between the two. And another important point is, whether they like it or not, the world is significantly fragmenting nowadays, right? We don't seem to have that huge common integrated market. And COVID gave everyone a lesson in logistics, when supply chains were interrupted and even food could not be delivered across the world. And a number of countries took food security as a national strategic priority. And similar situation is something that's happening now with natural resources, some of which are concentrated in countries that may, significantly worsen the terms of dealing with them, put it this way. So everyone would be interested in securing their own resource base, making that an attractive niche and, attracting contemporary technologies. And longer term, chances are we're going to see that trend grow.
Yeah,
And finally, I
absolutely.
mean, I've always loved industrial sector because it knows how to count their money. They know how exactly, like, a 10% reduction in an input cost may lead to billions in market capitalization. They speak the language of business, just like we at Taver Capital do, and it's a space that's easier to navigate for me. I mean, some prefer other things, but this is where I feel I can bring value to the investors, to the startups, and to the potential acquirers or clients, the companies, the corporations.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and certainly that whole resource nationalism piece. It's a long term trend. I think it's here to stay. It's certainly
Yeah.
something that we're keeping a very close eye on our side of things. When we're talking to people in the market, gaining intelligence or whatever, it's constantly coming up. So it's certainly something to be cognizant of for everybody.
Yep.
Moving on then. So as far as the actual capital raising capacity is concerned, who are the sort of target investors? Who are you looking to engage with the fund? Who are you hoping to be raised? Is there a particular market or a particular jurisdiction or type of investor you think this is well suited to?
Well, I'm quite agnostic as far as sort of jurisdictions and the types of investors are. I would obviously prefer institutions that have good risk tolerance and reasonable to low liquidity requirements, such as pension funds, which I think are going to be allowed to enter venture market in the UK. I read a couple of articles about that some time ago. And I mean, given the nature of the sector, after all, this is venture, right? This is risky, and it is capital intensive in this particular niche in industrial area. It is longer term. So an investor, an institutional investor, should be able to, tolerate that risk and payout terms. On the other hand, I will also welcome family offices of large industrial groups, because these will understand my value proposition better, and they might even, be able to provide some invaluable advice as smart money. So these are the sort of preferred two groups of investors I would love to see in my new fund.
Perfect. So let's talk us through then, I guess, in the initial stages, or what's the initial portfolio plan? Have you sort of identified a particular corporates to invest into? Are you that far ahead? So where are you at currently? And so what's
Well,
the plan for the next year
I'm
or
not
so?
I'm not doing well. I mean, just like I said, I just started fundraising, so the actual fund is not there yet to invest. I'm not targeting any particular companies. I'm in the sense that I'm not doing the tactical allocation. I'm more or less familiar with the strategic allocation. So obviously, it is going to be mining. I mean, mineral mining, the traditional mining, manufacturing. These are the main sort of areas I'll be looking at. Within them, you get a lot of subheadings, but I mean, this is probably way too many details to bother your listeners with.
Sure, sure. And then I guess, just as far as lessons learned so far, you're still in the early stages. So I imagine many of these challenges will come sort of further on down the road. But so far, has sort of been anything sort of that surprised you about the process? Any challenges you've had to overcome that you weren't expecting? And if so, how did you go about overcoming them?
Well, I mean, the past 3 years, I can say that there's been one huge challenge with they tested pretty much every single aspect of every single company in my portfolio and the fund itself. And the thing I was glad to see and confirm is that diversification works. I mean, we're very well diversified geographically as well as by sector, and the portfolio and the fund showed immense availability. So go learn some finance theory. It really helps.
Fantastic. Okay, well, listen, we're nearly out of time. So just to finish off, how can people contact you? Where can they reach you? Where can they find out more about Taver Capital and what's going on?
Well, they're welcome to check out the website. They can always ping me on LinkedIn, or they can just send an email to mt@taver.capital, and I always eventually read my inboxes. I might not, reply to every single message I get there, but it is going to be read. That's for sure. I guarantee you that.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't add, you can also come to Resourcing Tomorrow 2023, where Mikhail will be joining us as a pitch strategist. So make sure if you want to catch him in person, that would be a great place to do it. Mikhail, thank you so much for your time today. It's been wonderful speaking to you, and looking forward to seeing you at the event.
See you. Thank you.
Cheers.
Resourcing Tomorrow, accelerating the energy transition. 100 plus countries represented. And together with government representatives, mining and energy professionals, ESG experts, financial and professional services, industry associations, investors, and consultants, Resourcing Tomorrow will address critical mineral supply, the energy transition, environmental resilience, the circular economy, ESG, our future workforce, AI automation and machine learning, digitalization, mineral processing and plant optimization, exploration and development projects. Have your say in the future of our industry. Join us for Resourcing Tomorrow from 28 to 30 November 2023. Register today